Hello, welcome to Virtual Flight Diaries with a cold and start to engine startup tutorial with the JustFlight Avro RJ. We are in the RJ85 model, but this tutorial will work for all variants. Alright, so we're in the cockpit. It's cold and dark. We're sitting here at Denver International Airport. So the first thing you want to do when entering the cockpit is you want to set up the EFB. So we're going to import our SimBrief flight plan. Once that's in, we'll go over to aircraft and import the payload. So there's two options. You can have GSX load the aircraft, or you can do all the loading up through the EFB. We're going to, since I'm going for tutorial purposes, I'm going to do an instant load. So just set that up. So we got to load our fuel, so we'll start refueling instant. And then we'll load our passengers, just to have that in the system, ready to go. So, because of the state-saving feature of this plane, you want to make sure that you do a pre-flight safety check of the cockpit. So the flow I have set up is the flow that I use, and it's based off of the operating manual provided by JustFlight. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure the landing gear is down and locked. You want to go to the weather radar. You want to put it in standby, and you want to tilt it up 15 degrees. So it's just the max reading here. After that's done, you're going to come down. You're going to make sure the air brake is in and the flaps are up. And then the transponder is on standby. On standby. So that's all ready. And then you're going to go up and you're going to turn on the nav light. That way the nav light is on for when you apply battery power. So the lights light up and it lets the ground crew know that there's a crew inside the aircraft and that you're powering it up. So next, after the nav light is on, we're going to go to the electrical panel and we're going to turn battery 1 and 2 on. So there's two things you can do here. So we're going to do a, actually, here's what we'll do. So we're going to add ground power just to show you ground power. So you can fuel this plane with the APU on. So generally I go and turn the APU on first, but we'll do ground power because I just want to show you where you need to go for that. So ground power is available. So we're going to just turn that on, and now we have power to the aircraft. But we're going to continue on with the flow, ending with the startup of the APU. Okay? So after battery 1 and 2 comes on, you're going to, what's next? So you're going to go to the avionics panel up here at the top, and you're going to turn the yaw dampeners on. The FGC select, you're going to choose 1 or 2 based on if the date is odd or even. That's apparently how the crews operated. So today is November 10th, so we're going to go with number 2. And then we're going to turn on the autopilot master and the avionics master. After that, we're going to go down to the ground ignition. It's A, B, or both. A for odd days, B for even days, November 10th, so we're going to turn it on B. They did this to make sure that the equipment use was saved, so that, you know, igniter B didn't get overused, igniter A didn't get overused, and both, I would imagine, is for like foul weather starting, and, you know, it's just something where you would need both igniters. So once we have this all set up, the ground ignition set, the next is going to be to the anti-skid. So you can see it's a flow already, so we're kind of just rolling down. So anti-skid comes on, yellow and green lift dampeners come on, or lift spoilers come on. After that is going to continue back down to the electronics page, or the electronics section, the electrical section, and we're going to go and make sure that our AC bus ties are in auto and that our standby inverter and standby generator are armed. After that, we're going to continue down. We're going to turn the galley power on, and we're going to turn the APU generator on, and that'll be our we're all set up for the APU start. So before we start the APU, we're going to do our ground fire tests. So we're going to check APU fire. And APU overspeed. I think it's down here on the master warning screens. Engine and APU extinguishers, and then smoke ejection, or smoke detectors. And that's all checked. Once that's done, we'll check each engine. You'll also see that it lights up down here. So once all the fire tests are done, we're going to go over here to our engine fire detects, and we're going to set it to loop B because it's an even day. Loop A if it was an odd day. That is just, I mean, you could technically leave these all in their A's and stuff like that, but it's just, we're going to try to make it as close to the manual as possible. Alright, so after we've turned on our fire detection loops, we're going to go down to the fuel pump and turn on our left inner fuel pump. And this feeds the APU. So after that's turned on, we can then start the APU. So we're going to start the APU. We're going to monitor both temperature and RPM. So it takes about 4 seconds after the RPM reaches max for us to have available generator power. Since we've already turned on the APU generator, we automatically have power going to that. So now we can disconnect the ground power. And you can see we have it automatically switched over. So therefore now you want to turn on the APU air right here. And then you only need one pack for the APU bleed. So pack 1 or pack 2, once again, pack 1 for odd days, pack 2 for even days. November 10th, so we're going to go pack 2. Alright, so we're going to get cabin air comes on, and then we're going to do a flight deck fan and the cabin fan so that we can start getting air into the cabin as we are loading up the passengers. So after we have the APU fired up and air coming in, we can finish our ground tests. So next would be the stall warning. And you just go down the line, pushing each button. You know, things will bit test themselves. You can look down at the NWS. I keep wanting to say ECAS. Too many Airbus. Alright, so just keep going down. I'm going to check the anti-skid, fault, green, and yellow. And check the horn. After that's done, no smoking sign could come on, and cabin emergency lights could come on. We're just going to go right, keeping in the area, kind of keeping the flow. Alright, so after that is done, we go down here and we're going to test our MWS. So push that in, push it in again. I'm going to make sure that that's all working. Warning lights have come on. And then we're just going to put it in the middle, so it should not be illuminated. And that's set. Okay? So next will be to start our nav alignment. Wait, no, I'm sorry. We're going to do a light test. Make sure all the lights are on. That'll look good. Got the wind shear warning. Go here, make sure that works. That's done. We'll go over here and let me get a better position for that. So we're just going to put it in a line to start. So it's going to start aligning. And then we're going to set up our FMC for the flight. So it's similar if you're used to 737 FMCs, except there's just some subtle changes. So we'll pick up our position here, add that in, and we're going to add our route. So there is a way to save and add a route. So you come up to where is it? So where are you? So first, so there's a menu item where you can download your SimBrief flight plan, the .rte, to the work folder in the community folder. And I haven't used it yet, so that's why I'm finding it difficult. I've just put it in manually. You would put it in manually anyway back in the day. So in keeping with that, so let's look at our flight plan for today. So we're going from Denver to Salt Lake City. Little regional run. Alright, so we're going KDEN. Our destination is going to be Salt Lake City, so that's KSLC. Our flight number is Northwest 676. Once that's in, we can then go to our departure arrivals page and put in our departure. So we're expected to leave runway 8 on the Zimmer 3 departure. Also, if you have a Navigraph subscription, you can update this through the Navigraph hub, just like the PMDG and the other aircraft, so that you have an up-to-date ARAC. Okay, so the Zimmer 3 departure and the changing transition. Once that's in, we can go to route. So from Cheney, we're going to go direct to Echo Kilo Romeo. And then from Echo Kilo Romeo, we're going to go on our arrival. So at Salt Lake City, we're expected 16 left, so we're going to pick the ILS. And we're going to use the Leahy transition, the Leahy 5, with the Ecker transition. And for our transition for our VIA for our ILS, we are going to go Weber. Once that's in, we hit route. That's all in. We can hit activate and execute, and our flight plan is in the system. So the next thing to add is our perf-init. So it doesn't auto add, so we're going to have to punch in the numbers. Well, it will once we get this. So we're going to start with the zero fuel weight. So we get that over here. We look at our zero fuel weight, and it's 74.4. And we'll double check with our gross rate. Gross weight's 86.8. Alright, we're going to go with our zero fuel weight, so 74.4. And our planned, so that's right, our planned fuel is 12.3. There we go. There, now that matches. I forgot. Gross weight is actually the zero fuel plus the fuel added. And 3.2 on the reserve. We're going to be cruising at 32,000 feet. And then you would look up in your OFP for, cruise winds, the ISO deviation. You can just add all that stuff in there. But for tutorial purposes, you generally don't need that. Okay. So that's our FMCs all set up. So after that, we can turn on our EFISes right here. Go over here and turn it into nav. So it'll finish up aligning and click on. There is a way to speed up the alignment. So it takes about roughly 8 minutes to align on realistic. So if you put it in nav and then put it back to align, it'll align in 30 seconds. So watch, I'll show you. So, and also to move these, you have to lift them out of the gate and then move them. So then it should take 30 seconds. So that's the EFB setup. Our nav's aligning. So we're going to move on. So the next one is going to be the MCP. So flight directors could come on. Yours is going to be master. That one is slave. That's why that's not lit up. If you would turn this one on first, it would have shown up as this master thing. So you see the navs are flashing. So we're just going to put them in to nav and complete the alignment. And you can see our ephyses have come to life. So let's say initial climb out 23,000. Climb the SID. I think the SID's 23. Alright, so 23. Flight directors are on. So the next step is to come down here and you can quick set your trim for takeoff just by clicking on this right here, the CGSMC. Otherwise, you can go in the manual. There's charts that you can match up the CG percentage and it'll tell you what setting to set in the green band. That's something you want to do because, I mean, this is just a quick, unrealistic way of doing it. So we're going to fire this one up. And we'll get that on the legs page. And we'll put this one on the legs page as well. But what you're going to do is you're going to come over here and you're going to click this. And what that's going to do is it's going to set your TRP control for 18 for flaps 18 takeoff. So you can go in SimBrief and use the takeoff performance calculator, and it'll be based on, you know, based on your weight and temperature and so on and so forth, that you know, you can get a D rate and such. So right now it's synced to N1, so we got N1 at 97%, so our max toga takeoff. You can sync it to temperature reduced, and then you set the temperature using this right here. You can see our N1 set is dropping as we increase it, but we're going to set it for toga and sync back up to 97%. Alright, MCPU is set up, TPR is set up. We're going to set our altimeters, and then we're going to check our oxygen. Oxygen is good. And then reset our fuel use. We will come up here now. So we're going to arm the emergency exit lights and turn on the seatbelt signs because we're all boarded and refueled. And after that is done, we're going to go back up to the hydraulics page. Okay. So we're going to turn on the DC pump, and we're going to come down here and see that it's energized the yellow brake pressure. And then we're just going to shut that off after it pressurizes. Then we're going to turn the AC pump on. Check the pressure and shut it off. And then we're going to turn on the PTU. And shut it off. So once we've all pressurized the hydraulic system, we're ready to move on to our before start flow. Okay, so to start the before start flow, you kind of come over here and you're going to use this knob right here to enter our landing altitude. This is going to set up our pressurization. So our elevation at Salt Lake City, great. I'll tell you what, since my tablet's not working, you can use this. Charts, ground charts. So if you have Navigraph, you can come in here. So our ICAO code is SLC. We're going to look for a taxi, airport info, and our elevation is 4231. Come back up here, and we're going to set our landing altitude to the elevation of the airport. So I'm going to round up to 43 because it's in whole numbers, and that's set. And pressurization is all automatic when manual rates in auto. So after that's done, we're going to come down here. We're going to pull the attitude indicator. Come down here, do a TCAS test. We got a pass. And then we're going to go back up, confirm that these are off. It's checked off. Next, we're going to turn on our ice detection, or engine, I'm sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, sir. So we're going to turn on the ice detect. So that goes on right there. After that's on, we double check that our seatbelt sign is on and our fuel quantity is confirmed for the flight. 6180, 6190, it's within 10, so we're good. And then we just double check our TRP. We want to make sure this is our flaps retract speed. We're going to look at V1 is 129, so we're going to set our V2 speed is also 129 plus 10, so 139. So that's set. And we'll just double check that our trim is where we left it, and that these are all neutral. Alright, that's done. Before start flow is complete. So now we go on and we're ready to start the engines. So first thing you want to do is you want to make sure your cockpit door is closed and locked. Alright, after it's locked, fuel pumps can come on for engine start. We're going to turn the beacon light on. That's over here. We're going to shut the APU air off and the packs can come off. And then we're going to turn the engine anti-ice on for start. And then we're going to turn on all our ice protections. So these are the windows heat and probe heats. So that's all ready to go. So we're going to turn on, so we're going to make sure the start power is in normal. And then we're going to turn on the start master. That's all set. So the engine select is going to go to 4. So the engine start is 4, 3, 2, 1. Just go right around. So once that's all set, that light's illuminated. You go down here to the engine start mode and hit start. Come down here, you watch N2 rise when N2 gets above 10%. You're going to come down here. It's a little tricky. I do have these keybound, but I want to show you. You're just going to click here to introduce fuel to the system. And then we'll monitor our engine start. We got EGT is maxing out and we have rollback. And N2 is stabilizing. Come up here, lights are out. We have a good start on 4. Just going to go to 3 and do it all over again. Going to watch the rise, 4, 5. There's 10. We have N1 movement. Introduce fuel. Watch it all spool up. Takes a little bit. EGT is stabilizing. And we have rollback. N2 is stabilizing. Lights are out. Good start on 3. And you just keep repeating all these steps for all the engines. There's 10. So these switches are very hard to click. You kind of have to position yourself like this. So after we get the engine started, I'm going to show you what the keybind is. To just click, you can set it up so that you can just start it from your peripheral device. So that's a good start on 2, and we'll finalize it with a start on engine. Watch for that rise. We're at 10. We have N1 movement. Introduce fuel. Wait for that rollback and that stabilization. And we have a good start. So now once you've started all the engines, you can then go to our after start flow. So that'll be the start selector goes to the off position and the start master should shut off. And if you don't need the engine anti-ice, they can come off at this time. Otherwise, you would just leave them on if you were in icing conditions. So now we're going to come over here and we're going to turn on generator 1 and generator 4. And we're going to go up to the hydraulics panel and we are going to turn on engine pump 2 and engine pump 3. And then AC pump can go to auto and the PTO pump can come on. And now we have the entire system pressurized and the engines running. APU air can come on. We keep the APU for takeoff, and packs 1 and 2 could come on. And now we can start providing air to the cabin. We leave the engine air off. These get turned on after takeoff. So just double check that these 5 switches are depressed and on. And we can come down to the transponder and turn that to TARA. And the taxi lights can come on. And that's it, guys. That's how you set up and start your Avro RJ aircraft from JustFlight. This thing is incredible. It's fun to fly. I've been having so much fun flying and learning this plane. If you are familiar with the older version, the British Aerospace 146, its flight characteristics and somewhat are similar because they're the same aircraft. This just has all the creature comfort upgrades. And now you're ready for taxi. So that'll be the next tutorial. So we'll set up the plane for taxi. But before we go, I want to show you real quick the keybind. Where do I have that? It's instruments, fuel, set engine 1 fuel valve. So I set 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can then just hit that button and it will introduce the fuel for you. And then you don't have to worry about that click spot, which is very precarious. All right. Well, that's everything. So we're all set up and we're ready to go. So we'll see you in the next tutorial, and thanks for watching. This is Virtual Flight Diaries, and clear skies and smooth landings. See ya.